everyone. Well, once again, it's time for our wonderful bedtime story with Santa. And tonight, I'm going to be reading Santa is Coming to Gloucester. It's a beautiful little book, and it's written by Steve Smallman and illustrated by Robert Dunn and Amerigo Pinelli. So are you ready? Let's begin. Here we go. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Gloucester been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Gloucester had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Well, yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get all their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really, really big, and the elves were really, really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble at all in loading it onto Santa's sleigh, though how they managed to fit such a big sack onto one little sleigh, even they didn't know, but somehow they did it. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him, but just then the young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the postcode for Gloucester. This will guide us to Gloucester in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have all of these parcels delivered to glorious Gloucester. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the North Sea. On they flew in the crisp, wintry night sky, crossing over Scotland in the wink of an eye. The sleigh was flying above Birmingham and on to Gloucester. The youngest reindeer was so very excited he'd never been away from the North Pole before. They were just crossing Crickley Hill when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a little bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned at all. In 2 kilometers, said the Santa nav, in a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But madam, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars at all in this snow. And they were soon hopelessly lost. Oh my goodness. Then, through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on. With the flick of a harness and the jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. Whoa there, reindeer, cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, He heard the ringing sound too. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the bells of Gloucester Cathedral. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." But suddenly, crunch! Oh my goodness! The sleigh hit something. As it plummeted through the snow clouds, "You have arrived," the voice said unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were. Stuck right at the very top of the Christmas tree on Eastgate Street. Oh dear. "Everybody pull!" Santa bellowed. The reindeer pulled with all of their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the Christmas tree and Santa steered them safely over the Guildhall, past the Folk Museum, and he swooped over the docks and landed in Gloucester Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the parcels had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the presents out into the correct order again. "Right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I now know where we are. Don't worry, everyone. Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Gloucester, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as they could go. There were big chimneys in Abbeymead and small chimneys in Barnwood. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Churchdown and plummeted down fat chimneys in Tuffley. Oh, I remember that well. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all. And it looked like the children of Gloucester were going to be very lucky indeed this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for parcels of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up all of the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Gloucester had left out a large mince pie, my favourite, and a small glass of something, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each mince pie and a tiny sip of something, wiped his beard and popped the carrots into his sack. From Hempstead to Hucklecote, from Kingsway Village to Kingsholm, from St. Bridge to St. Paul's, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Gloucester. Santa delivered presents to Alfie, Ava, Ben, Brooke, Charlie, Chloe, and the list went on until they reached Zach, Zara, and Zybel. Finally, Santa had delivered the very last present on his long Gloucester list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, and of course it was full of all the juicy, crunchy carrots that the boys and girls had left for the reindeers. Santa shared out the carrots between all of the reindeers. "Well done to you," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose because he'd done such a good job, hadn't he? But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav for the North Pole, and soon they were speeding past the Waterways Museum and over Kingsholm Stadium through the crisp night sky. "Ho, ho, 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 ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Gloucester." Wasn't that a splendid book? I hope that you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Well, that wonderful book is called Santa is Coming to Gloucester. It's written by Steve Smallman, illustrated by Robert Dunn and Amerigo Pinelli, designed by Sarah Aylan, and published by our very good friends at Hometown World. Sleeping well and sweet dreams. Night-night to you all.